Hello and welcome to the Stanley Parable. Thank you for joining. I look at the screen on this computer. When I move my mouse, the little mouse inside this little screen on the computer just moves around. And even inside the little screen inside the computer screen. Okay, I hope you enjoy the video. Let's begin the game. This is just going to take a few seconds to load up. I guess maybe a minute. Okay, well, we're getting some loading. The end is never the end is never the end. The next few loading screens will not take this long. And Stanley's story begins.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
All right, we're in his office, Stanley's office. And the narration has begun.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Or did he actually go there? Cup says who farted. That's what I mean. $11:25. Up, the minute hand moved. It's legit clock.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Or did he? I don't know about you, narrator. I'm going on the one on the right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Nope. Actually, I just want to do the opposite.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth it, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Or did he? Nope. Blueprints. I will go through this door. I don't know what's on this going down this hallway.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Got back on track? Back into the office rooms? Now, how about we go down this elevator? The end is never the end.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Oh! Door to the elevator shut. Is it really that way?
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
What were you thinking?
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking?
Yeah,
it's
what
clearly...
were you thinking?
Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right.
Right,
Yep,
left,
yep.
down,
Okay,
right.
okay, yes. I've got it now.
Is that a
This story is
combination?
absolutely, definitely this way.
Okay. There's a generator. Going down. Ooh. All the security cameras.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler.
Oh, this
Quick,
is all a
Stanley, close your
spoiler.
eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Okay. From the top. Hey, there's a clock like the clock in the other room down one of the hallways. Is that really how much time has passed? About a minute, 20 seconds? Ha!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Or did he? Can't jump. Can't jump. Can't jump. Incoming gag. Oh, can I go? Oh, I fell off the desk. No. Come on. I want to look out the window. Look out the window. Don't think I can get up there right now. Don't you wish you could jump in this game?
When Stanley... Wait.
Wait.
What?
What's going on here?
No, I restarted. I swear,
Where's
I
the two
definitely
doors?
restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Well, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
I did
you
nothing.
move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just
Are you talking to me? Am I Stanley?
a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Oh, so many choices. But why this door open? I can't go up there. I should.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
No,
Well, I find it
not
unlikely
yet.
that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
I thought I was getting somewhere. Yet maybe a minute has passed or two, and yet that clock has not moved this minute hand.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm all alone here. Let's give 430 75 clicks. 5 to begin with. No. It's supposed to be an achievement when you click on a few doors after you've clicked on 430. I did not get that achievement yet.
Okay, yep, it's worse.
Oh.
I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Maybe I can't do that right now. Whoa! Ladder. Oh, I thought something fell over. If only I could zoom in and see this text. Gone.
Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes.
Here it comes.
No, wait. Never
Oh,
mind.
wait.
Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
It's worse. Did I break the story? Whatever
Now
this room is.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all.
It's not part
Is
of
this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job.
Good job.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all.
It
We
can't
both
end
know
this
you
way.
didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
The end is never the end. The Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
To destiny
Here's a
we
thought.
go.
Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay, now if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going
I don't
with
get
all
it
that.
either.
You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
drug me. Daryl Hawkins. Oh, kill me now. Wait, Stanley. Go back and look at that fern.
Cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
$400 leaves. What, you don't believe me? I just counted them all. Maybe there is, maybe
what?
not.
We're back at the office?
We're back at the office.
No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Oh. The security cameras.
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Well, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it.
104
Restart.
fired. Restarting. Oh, Stanley. Just ignore the Stanley parallel line.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
I don't know.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Continuously going around and around and around and around and around and around. Oh. Is this the way back? Oh. Nope. Wrong way. Talk to me, Mr. Narrator. Having fun? Enjoying the video? I hope so.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it. We should be fine.
And the veto wins. Don't acknowledge it, Stanley. It'll go away. What's the parable line ever done for us, he says. Oh no. A room with 2 door choices.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Because the right door is the right door.
Oh, hold up, what's this?
The confusion ending.
Confusion ending? You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean,
and the game restarts itself.
Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
Beginning again. And there were no sign of any of Stanley's co-workers.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Broke the game glitch until he heard the narrator's gag.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
If I say yes, you're going to sing a song. I'm not quite done yet.
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected Continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
It was more satisfying to hear him keep on talking. Unless you wanted to hear the music he plays with a guitar. End of gag. Reloading. Still 11:20. It does not move. The second hand, the minute hand. Minute hand is not moving, and that 11 o'clock hour hand is not going to move.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth?
Click it 70 more times.
I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Click it 70 more times.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Already there.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
And then the printer was behind the door.
Excellent! I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
I only clicked this door twice.
Now, back to door number 437.
And then the printer. Oh, 4317. 437.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Click.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
I believe you. We are getting in somewhere.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
Jump on employees 419's desk. Was that what it was? Ah.
Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
And then 347 again? Oh, 316. 416.
We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
The copy machine, do that one again!
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes! We did it!
Yes!
Oh, wow.
We did it!
That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now?
No,
What
I
were
did
you
not believe
thinking?
that. I got an achievement.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Or did he? I did. Stanley went up to his boss's office.
Yet
the
there was
stairs.
not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Up the stairs we'll go. I'll let you read this. Everyone is unique. You most of all. What's the next slide? Boo. Synergize core value expenditures. Shift global market parade. Monetize free to play. This is not a free to play game. The broom closet. Indeed.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Or did he?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
It's a big wrench.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
What does FA mean?
Are you really
I'm not
still in
even
the
gonna
broom
look it
closet?
up.
Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Comment in the comment section if you know what FA means.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever.
Did you get the broom closet ending?
I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
He's just insulting me now.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose.
I'm dead.
Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Okay. Are you done? If so, I'm leaving the broom closet. Okay.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee, coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Or did he? Oh, this is the insanity ending. Nope, not going there. Very majestic. Is that the right word for it? And I cannot go in this room yet. Close the door, please. Later, this door will be able to open. Would you look at on your computer? Oh, don't be there. Where's my boss? The narrator is my boss.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number.
88888 is the achievement right here.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Stanley would just kept on pressing buttons, and eventually he found out the code.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway
and discovered the mind control facility. The end is never the end.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
And Stanley stepped out of the elevator.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Or did he?
Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Stanley would eat his violent death?
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Yet Stanley thought otherwise and got back on track.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Oops. Sorry about that. The room full of all the security cameras and displays.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
And that's just the lights turning on. Now we turn on the security display screens for the security cameras.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
A place where freedom meant nothing. Who wouldn't want a huge room full of security cameras? Security cameras and displays. And some of them repeat. Excuse you. Wow. What's you always sneezing?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
This room is just too much.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Yes, he did. Spends his life.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Excuse me. I want to go home. All systems offline. And if I turn the whole entire system on, this whole room will blow up. Ooh. Let's go shut down the power facility. End the mind control facility.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
System shut down. I'm still here. The lights will turn on. And a door will open.
Gladness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself.
Doggy, be quiet. Be quiet.
From someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
And died happy.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
And all alone. Restarting. Thank you. This is a game over.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Or did he? Now that the achievement has been accomplished, door 30 is now officially locked.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I don't know. I want to go to the star room.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Nope. That's not why I'm going there.
Wow. Yes. This room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Really worth it.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality.
Seriously?
It's possible that this is why everyone left.
What does that say?
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed
Yo.
and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Coca-Cola. Pepsi.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Or did he? I'm going to the garage.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
If I get on this platform and then I back up before it takes off, I'll be stuck up here and the mirror will be forced me to jump off and fall to my death.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Her
She's
who?
been waiting.
There's no one waiting. It's a trap. Goodbye!
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Because I have choices.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Or did he? Wait, what's this room? Did I go up through here before? Ah, the two-door choice.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Or did he?
This was
No,
not
he
the
didn't.
correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Nope. Not to admire it. Anybody here? No, I'm all alone.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace, its subtle charm. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yes.
What? I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Or did he? No.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
All right, he went through the blue door.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
The blue door?
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I want it to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And
Okay.
I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
The star room ending.
What do we want? What are we looking for?
The night sky.
Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
What is this awesomeness? It's amazing. the pretty green blobs. I heard someone call this the Zen Room. The Zen Room. Isn't it heavenly?
No, wait. Where are you going?
The room of no return.
Right. Where were we? Oh no! Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
We will?
Good, good. We can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay here.
I don't think I can promise that. Have you had enough of this yet? Or you want more?
No! What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here.
Okay, I'll go back. All right? Okay.
You are going to stay here, aren't you?
Aren't I? Am I going to stay here? What do you think, everybody? Should I stay here? No matter how long I stay here, all of this will keep going for hours. can stay in here forever. Look at the beauty of the colors. I gotta go. Let's get out of here.
You heard me before, didn't you? You will die! What about this isn't getting through to you?
I'll die? Okay. Let's go back to the stairs. Wait, what are you doing, Stanley? Go back to the other room. No, don't! Don't do it, Stanley! Don't take this from me!
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
I don't want to do it either. But I may have no choice. How do I get out of here? It's funny to mess with him like this. I hope this doesn't bother you too much, but this is just so funny. Plunged to my death? No, please, Stanley!
Please, Stanley,
You'll
think about what
die!
you're doing. No!
Ah! Oh, thank God. You
Thank
live.
God, you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
Can we please go back to the other room? Okay.
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
If we stop moving, we can just stop moving. Let's go again!
Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this.
Oh, okay. There's nothing good that can come from this. I gotta go up the stairs again. I just got to.
No. No. What do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
Please, Stanley, no! Don't take this from me! This is all we have left! Goodbye, Mr. Narrator. Ah!
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? Yes. Perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
I can see that we can be happy in the freedom ending. Okay, gotta go.
No, perhaps not.
It's over, isn't it? It's going to restart.
My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
I promise, that's not how it is. I'm telling you. I just want to stay here and be happy. By the way, I'm not Stanley. My name's Tony. Please, Stanley, no! Don't take this from me! It's over, isn't it? It's going to restart. Goodbye.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get a... Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
He was gonna say, I just want us to get along. Is that too much to ask?
I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I wish I still thought that was possible.
This is a good gag. Do you really hate my game that much? Are you willing to throw yourself over the edge and over again and over again and over again just to make me unhappy? No, Stanley, please! This is the end of it! Goodbye.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
The end is never the end. Loading. What if we just sit here for a minute or two? Will the narrator tell us to get out of the office and explore the other rooms? But the pressure was too much. Stanley just couldn't leave his computer. No, maybe not. And Stanley just stood there, looking at the clock, ticking away. Suddenly, Stanley turned and looked at his computer. Still, no instructions sent. For the longest time, Stanley stood and looked at his computer, awaiting instructions. He stood there for a very long time. Finally, Stanley realized he'd been standing there so long Then Stanley looked at the clock again. And because the narrator was not telling him to do anything, Stanley finally walked out of his office. Nice leave. And Stanley was confronted with two doors of choice.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Or did he?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Nope, that's not why I'm going.
Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood true happiness. Then the feeling went away, and he felt sad again. Then it came back, and lingered for a minute or two. Now it's only half there. Just a kind of, tingle.
This clock says 11:25. Ooh, time is...
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Number one boss?
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Or did he? This time I will.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Huh? And Stanley got back on track. Pretty blue mountain. Ooh. Rocks at the ocean. And nobody was in the meeting room either.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Or did he?
Oh no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Or did he?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example,
Doggy, be quiet! Be quiet, Angel!
why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield.
Floating.
And it too appeared. It was so much fun. And Stanley
Snow
marveled that he had still not
inside?
woken up. How was he remaining
Snow
so
inside
lucid?
the office
And
building?
then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back.
And Stanley fell asleep and woke up back in the same area and realized he was going crazy.
The fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life.
Stanley does not have a wife. He only has his job.
Exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
He didn't shut his eyes all the way. He usually does. In this
Stanley
scene.
began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
And he died crazy. This is a story.
This is the
about
story of a
Marietta.
woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
And Stanley did as he was told. Up to the boss's office this
Yet
time.
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
The broom closet is boarded up. Can't get in this time.
Hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Can I get in? Yes. The executive bathroom. Because the boss knows what the boss says goes. If the boss suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. And it's unlocked. A polar bear! Oh, no. Koala bear? Business strategy. What are you gonna shoot the bear for? The elevator that goes? Nobody knows. Dun, 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 dun. Elevator music. Don't you love it? The elevator's vibrating. I'm not shaking the mouse. Well, this was fun. Doo-doo. Back to the same room. The elevator that goes nowhere.
Stepping.
Oh, I broke your door. No, not really. It wasn't an indicate. This door's open again. Going down. Is this door open? Oh, I can't go back there. The insane ending is shut down. Room closet. Where we go? Nobody knows. Please do not stain. When you keep on tapping the left click on the mouse, sounds like you're typing on a keyboard. Oh, I already went through this door. Isn't that cool? When you keep on tapping the here door. I heard a door click. Guess maybe I clicked it. This doorway is, oh, it's not black. But we're headed to a door that is infinitely black. Waiting input. Input received. Oh, here we are. We are now leaving to the escape pod. Escape pod bay. And Stanley went through the red door. It's the office room. There it is again. The main office room. Floor 7. No. Oh, 4, 5, 7. Is the office room over here again? Yes. It's on every floor. Can't see a thing. You gotta kind of have a look around to navigate here. There it is again. Whoa! There's an elevator. Can't go through it. Didn't you enjoy the star room? Escape pod launch bay. This hallway, you gotta walk backwards for a little while. And it reloads. Come on. Is it over? I'm going back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Or did he?
When Stanley
Which way
came
do
to
you
a set
think I
of
should
two
go?
open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yes, yes. He went on the door to his left. Well, which door should we go? Let me check the papers. Okay, let's think about this. Which way do we want to go? Left or right? Okay, we'll go to the boss's office.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
He did? Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
At the end of the hall,
The door behind him was not shut.
would get
Stanley still
crushed to death.
had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
Crushed to death ending.
Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life.
This is a trick ending.
Farewell, Stanley.
And Stanley met his crushing death.
"Farewell, Stanley,"
what?
cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Seriously? Another ending. The Stanley Parable!
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
The museum!
When every
Of the
path
Stanley
you can walk
Parable.
has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
A replica of the office building. Poorly recreated. The two doors. Set of two doors was the first concept piece of Stanley Parable design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, as an exploration contradiction this room posed. Corridor. The pacing of the opening section was important step to get right. The corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in good time. Computers. Who's playing solitaire? No, solitaire for you. The office paintings. Doors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Button sounds. The credits. Namely, Kevin Brighting as the narrator. The Stanley Parable credits. Boss's office. Office clock that never changes. Rarely. Freedom ending. First concept incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. Ooh, colored monitors. I did not make that move. Buttons. Up and down. Monitor room elevator. Countdown room. Early version of the countdown room. Before it exploded. Destruction. Stanley's office. Another office. Another office. Switches. Zending levers. These levers were originally part of a zending. The player would pull a lever and the narrator would describe what the color they had pulled. The game is now paused. Beginning game, resume game, options, resume, return to menu. For a long time, we had an ending that totally ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this was what we were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. What? Why a static TV? Trailers. We ran 4 major trailers over the course of the game's development, each meant to convey something about the spirit of the game. This is the first one, released in May 2012. It features a series of broken rooms and the voice of the narrator informing viewers that he is preparing a new version of the Stanley Parable. Ooh. Sitting down. Chairs. Cheers, everyone! What is this? Zending model. Zending went through many iterations. This room represents the 4th version of the ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon it and changed it again shortly before launch. That about everything in this room? Oh.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Well, I'm about the end of the video.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice.
Crushed to death ending.
Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Squish. Okay, thank you for watching this video of the Stanley Parable. Hope you've enjoyed. Remember to poke that like button, comment, and subscribe. And goodbye.